Welcome along. You join us at Fujitsu World Tour London, where the theme of this year's event is driving a trusted future. A few headaches out there at the moment, isn't it? I mean, how do we deliver value back to the business when we're transforming? How do we provide value for our customers, employees, society at large? Well, we've got you back at this year's Fujitsu World Tour. We're going to help you identify the mix of suppliers, partners, technologies, and solutions to deliver on all those headaches and challenges your business is facing right now. And that's what these interviews are about. We're going to get you key insight to tangible problems your organisation is facing. Up next, we're talking operational excellence within utilities and energy. It's a bit of a changing landscape, this. You've got to balance the legacy systems with new infrastructure coming in. There's demand for new innovative technology, and of course, consumer demands are going through the roof all the time, aren't they? How do you balance that up? How do we deliver value? Can data be reliably trusted to deliver value back to the business? Well, hopefully, to answer that and a whole lot more, I'm joined by Graeme Wright, CTO, Energy and Utilities here at Fujitsu UK and I, Adrian West, Director, Commercial, Fujitsu UK and I, and Ronan Larkin joining us from Northern Ireland Water. He's Director of Finance and Regulation. Thank you all for sparing some time out of your Fujitsu World Tour agenda. Let's start with the big question. I'm keen to get both the Fujitsu opinion and the Northern Ireland Water opinion. Can technology be trusted to improve the quality and reliability of data? If we come to you first, Ronan.
Well, I think it can do, and I think it must do. I think it would be irresponsible if we didn't get there. It's really important. We in the water sector, our customers have to trust what we do. So trust is first for us. So clean, safe drinking water every day for everyone is an absolute must. So when people drink water, they have to know they can trust it. So therefore, when we're thinking about data and what we can do with the data, it's a similar thing. Our colleagues who use the data to run vital systems, and then our customers who depend on whether it's for their industrial or commercial process or at the home or in the hospital, they've got to know that what we're doing can be trusted.
What do we think of Fujitsu?
I think, in my opinion, to some extent, it's a multifaceted question. I think it depends on what you're looking at. I think there's clearly issues of when you are using technology, you've got to be absolutely convinced that the security, particularly in this sector, that security is there, so that actually the data that you get in is trustworthy and can't be tampered with. But actually, there's as much of an issue of data trustworthiness, reliability, when you've got humans intervening as when you've got technology. So to some extent, I'd rather trust a sensor picking up data points and letting the data flow through and being able to do that analytics on that than actually using data that's been collected and copied from spreadsheet to spreadsheet.
Has technology changed the relationship between energy and utility companies and its customers? We start with you, Adrian.
Yeah, I think it has. It's starting to change. I think what utility companies are starting to do is starting to deliver a far more personalised service. And I think that's really important, that they're getting to understand who their customers actually are. I think in the past it's been quite transactional. So it's been, if I turn on my tap, I expect the water to come out, or switch on a light, the electricity should work. And therefore, the only engagement in the past has been, if there's a problem, I want it fixed right away. I think now what you are seeing is utility companies are very much understanding their customers and delivering a far more personalised service. If you take smart metering, for example, that's a great example where people are getting real transparent use of their utility, and therefore it's improving the relationship between the customer and the utility provider themselves.
It's obvious that as consumers, we're all an impatient bunch. Digital age, we want everything now, don't we? How much of a burden is that for companies like Northern Ireland Water? How do you keep pace with that demand?
Well, I think the sector that I'm in doesn't consider it as a burden. It considers it as part of sort of the responsible utility, able to provide a tailored service to customers. So again, if you think about domestic customers at home, people are becoming more and more interested in their impact on the environment. So if they can understand through a smart meter what they're using in terms of water usage in the home, are they sort of using more than the average or whatever, I think people can really start to relate to that. And better information around that is really beginning to get some interest in consumers, in industry. Again, both from a value and cost perspective, as well as industry is really now interested in its impact on natural capital. So if you're in an industrial process and you can use less carbon and less water in your process, then again, you want that measured real time and you want to be able to trust that data. And I think the point that Graeme makes here around can AI and can machine learning and can data systems do a better job at not interfering with that, not getting that data wrong, than perhaps we as human beings can, is something to think about.
What are we going to see in the future from technology? Where's it going, Graeme? I know it's a big question. I've probably asked you that same question for the last 2 years, but what do we think's on the horizon over the next sort of 2 to 5 year window? What are we going to see?
I think if you take water sector in particular, I think there's some quite fundamental changes going to take place. I think the move to more community-based, particularly on new builds, the use of grey water, so sort of rainwater harvesting, to actually use that differently, so that we're not having to abstract water, pump it around, treat it, lose it through leakage, but actually it's dealt with locally. I think that could make a massive difference, and I think there's a really interesting role for the existing water companies to play. They still need to manage those assets. Still need managing. It's just that they might be more local. So you've got a far more distributed network of assets that they need to manage. Which I think the only way to do that is going to be through more use of technology, more use of sensors, optimising the workforce that's actually managing those. So I think that's going to be one area, and I think the other area is in the push to sort of be carbon neutral, particularly in the water sector. How do we optimise the network to abstract at the right time, pump at the right time, generate the renewables to actually optimise the whole power that's going on, what power's being generated and what power's being used.
Is that the same through your optic and Northern Ireland Water?
Yes, we're seeing that again ourselves, but in the sector widely here in the UK, the measures now. English water companies are now measuring interruptions in minutes per customers, less than minutes per customers.
Yeah.
So that's back to optimising your network. It's making sure you don't go out of supply, so there isn't any interruption to the service. Leakage, we talked about leakage there as well, and conserving the water, so the water is being produced and cleaned and distributed, and you're minimising wastage and downtime in a network. That's where we're seeing that happening already. Yeah. And then just generally in terms of tech, we're seeing drone technology now being deployed, which is probably quicker and more efficient and probably safer in some cases to do than some of the traditional ways of inspecting infrastructure and so forth. I think the sensor technology is something that's really going to drive that whole next piece. If you take it out of the UK and go globally, for a minute, Fujitsu is a global company, I think you're going to start seeing tech being used to solve kind of world problems, water scarcity regions. Yeah. Lack of sanitation and clean availability of clean water to parts of the world's population. And I think really organisations like Fujitsu working with these sectors globally are going to start solving some of those problems with data and with technology.
It's an interesting point that I'm reliably informed in one of the breakout sessions later that the UN goals is going to be referenced as one of the most innovative uses of AI right now, and how that's going to scale over the next couple of years. There's an interview that you find on social with Dr. Sadeo, which goes into a bit of detail around that. It'd be worth giving that a view. I'm going to ask the same question to you all, the usual question we wrap with. A lot of boardrooms are watching this, a lot of utility and energy companies will be having their heads turned by some of your smart comments. If you had one message for them, Graeme, come to you first. If you had one message for them, what would it be?
Thank you for coming to me first. I think my message is really that you've got to be, I've said this many times before, the journey to where technology is going and the rate at which it's changing, you need to make a start. You actually need to do things. There's a lot of companies out there that are trying to work out the business case for a holistic sort of deployment, and actually that's sometimes too complex. Understand where the end goals are, work out the things that you need to put in place now, start on those, start small, and work out how to scale up. And each day, just measure where you're getting to, whether you're getting the benefits, why aren't you getting the benefits. A lot of the time, you see, in the water sector, you see people, engineers, fixing dry leaks, which are things that they've been, incentivised to fix leaks, so they're out doing stuff. The people have detected leaks, but because they're incentivised to detect leaks, but actually the things don't exist. So make sure that your incentives and your measures actually drive the right behaviours to enable you to go along that journey, safely.
Interesting. Ronan, what do you think?
Well, I think, we're calling this different things, fourth industrial revolution, and so forth. Whatever this is, and it is here. It's not coming. It's here. I've heard it recently described as the the opportunity of a lifetime for organisations, for the world, for problems to be solved. And I think organisations will need to get after that immediately, because if it is an opportunity of a lifetime, it has to be capitalised and seized upon in the lifetime of the opportunity.
Adrian?
Yeah, I think building on those messages there, for me, most of our customers in water or energy have a sea of data today. They've got a wealth of data, but don't really know how to use it effectively to make better informed decisions. And for us, and one message I would give is how to embrace that and enable them to use new technology like quantum-inspired computing to help real complex problems simplify it to ensure the service they're delivering to their customers improves, and it helps not only the consumer but society in general.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for sparing us some time today. I know you've all got busy schedules. We promised you insight, didn't we? That was packed full of it. Dare I say, have we energised your thinking around IT? Before I get groaned out, let's move on. There's still plenty more to come, plenty more insight coming out of Fujitsu World Tour. By the time we finish at the end of today, we'd have brought you interviews across AI, blockchain, quantum, security, multi-cloud, innovation, this operational excellence and segment, workplace, a trusted future, retail, the connected world, public sector, transport, automation and financial services, no less. The aim is to get you answers to the very and apparent problems you are facing with technology right now. Thanks for watching.